Hey guys, what's up? Ginge here. Almost forgot how to say that. It's been a while. It's been a month, over a month since my last video. Couple reasons. A, I got a car, which I'm very excited about. And B, or two, or whatever the next thing is, A-levels. They're pretty rough. Had a lot of them recently. I've got 4 exams left, done 3, so I'm not even halfway. God, that takes a lot. So yeah, since I don't have any fresh ideas for videos, I thought I'd take you through a walkthrough of a popular video of mine, which is Bullet Time. If you haven't seen it, head over to your preferred web browser, and navigate to DarkestGinge's YouTube channel, and you'll find CSGO Bullet Time. Now, I employed a few different techniques in this video. I modelled the scene first in Source Filmmaker, which I made a tutorial about, so if you don't know how to model in Source Filmmaker, head check out my channel. So I modelled the scene in there. Some insect there. Yeah, so I modelled the scene in Source Filmmaker, and then every element you see, like the bullets here, or the muzzle flash here, or where's the other one? The explosion somewhere around here. This explosion, I motion tracked all those in inside After Effects. So this is going to be a long video, so buckle down, get your cups of tea ready, and let's jump into Source Filmmaker first. So this is my scene. That's where the camera starts, and it actually starts a lot like closer than you actually see in the video. You don't see this part in the video because I had to cut it out because the camera actually just cuts through the door on that bit there. So you actually see it when it comes out. When it comes out here, this is the part that you see it from. See, so that's where it cuts through the door. So I couldn't really. Well, I could use the first bit, but it's a bit disjointed. So this is where you see it from. This is where you start watching from. So you can see there's no muzzle flashes or anything, no bullets. So it flies through, follows him up, goes up to the grenade, down, round, and then around that guy there. So it takes quite the journey. And each player is individually modelled. Each player's got obviously something going on with him. This guy's holding the scar. And if you actually look where he's looking just behind Xbox. So he's not being the most help, but hey ho. Effort was made by this guy. So the legs were a pain to model because obviously he would have just been running from CT. So he's going to be putting a lot of pressure on this leg here as opposed to that, because he's going to be changing direction at this point. So that was a bit of a weird one to do. This guy, obviously, he's just getting blown up. In fact, he could have been shot from T there. Could have animated a bullet in. But the explosion looked better. So I'll actually show you how I did that later as well, because I kind of cheated with that. But, you know, be a little secret. That's fine. So this, again, individually modelled, put a gun in his hand, just because if he was just lying back without a gun or anything, then you'd kind of think, you know, bit fishy. Maybe where's he come from, because he ain't got a gun. Spectator. The grenade, I literally just thought, fuck it, we'll just put a grenade in somewhere. Yes, there was a lot of comments from people saying the pin is left in it. And I believe all you've got to do somewhere in here, there we go, the pin, you just delete the pin, pretty sure, or hide or whatever or something. I don't know, but yeah, so the pin was relatively easy to get rid of, but I just kind of brushed over my head at the moment, or at the time I'm making the video anyway. This guy, if you actually look where this guy's aiming, he's not being much help either. He's actually aiming at his own teammate there. So I didn't put much thought into where these guys were aiming. I just thought that general direction's fine. See, this guy's got the mag coming out because he's just reloaded, and I tracked in the bullets above him, so that's pretty cool. And then this is the final guy just here running along, looking at the incendiary. That's quite a good one because the song actually says something about fading away, and that's where the camera fades away around this way and comes back up into there. We'll see it in a minute. Comes down, so yeah, there, fades away and goes and looks at him. So yeah, that was kind of that. So obviously once I animated all those, I animated the camera flying through them all, and rendered that out. So I'll quit without saving with that. Once that was rendered out, brought it into After Effects, and this is where the magique happened. So I'll make it so we can see a few more layers here. So obviously I started off by importing them all into here. They were all imported as TGAs as well. It wasn't a video as such, it was a photo sequence. No reason. Well, there is a reason actually. Source Filmmaker, when you export as a video, doesn't really maintain its quality. Whereas if you export as TGA, you can kind of get better quality out of it. And as I was doing a lot of raw pixel editing with the color correction, that was something that I kind of needed to make sure happened. So I'm going to turn off the color corrections for now, just so that we can get a bit of faster render times going in. So obviously this is the first bit that you don't see, and in the end that would be covered by my intro. So the intro is not in there at the moment, but once it got rendered out from this point, the intro was then put in and compiled in Premiere. So the camera flies in. This is where the first part comes into play. So you don't see the thing here because this is the point that you see it from, just about here. So this is where we start watching from. And so the first effect that I'm going to talk about is this 3D muzzle flash. Now, as you can see, I made this 3D muzzle flash. Here's one I made earlier. So how I made it was I took 3 or 4 different muzzle flashes, and I compiled them all in 3D space. So you can see, where's the back one? This is the back one here. So if we face it on here, so the back one is facing us, and then we've got one that's lying down, so that will be this one here. There's one that's sideways, which will be that one there, and then I added in a few powder hits and sparks, kind of just to jazz it up a little bit, and then obviously the bullet in front of it. Now this isn't one I used. I compiled it all separately here inside, but you can see it kind of works the same. So obviously it doesn't look clean cut at this point. However, in the video it does, because I used a color correction that kind of popped out the lights a little bit more and darkened them. So it had a base color correction on it that lifted all the lights up, raised the contrast in it a bit. So then when the color correction was applied, that contrast would then work in conjunction with the glow to kind of get rid of those edges. So from an outside point of view now, you can't really notice that that's not like a true 3D muzzle flash, if that makes sense. So where the camera tracks in, see, the tracking point is on the floor here. You can just about see it. I've got a tracking point here and a tracking point over there. So you can see as it tracks in through the floor, it stays with it. Now, the reason I tracked from the floor and not the wall is because you've got 2 different perspectives going on. So for it to be properly perspective-wise matched to the character, I kind of needed to track from the floor. Because if I had tracked from the wall, then it would have given me a completely different perspective in terms of a track, meaning that when I was to put that onto the tip of the gun, as it is there, again, if I take the color corrections off, you can kind of notice it's not 100%. Even if I put full on, you see it makes it even worse because you can see all the sparks now. Color correction on, color correction off. So yeah. But yeah, I wouldn't have been able to track that properly onto the top of the gun. So yeah, that's the first little thing. And then obviously the bullet was Element 3D. Great little product there. So here is the bullet, 3D modeled. and then tracked into the same as the muzzle flash. So that's the first one. Second effect we'll look at is the explosions. Now again, this is where I kind of cheated a bit. So the explosions, I've made 2 explosions. So you can see these are both the layers here, also set up in 3D space. So we've got one which is kind of angled down a little bit, and then this one which is kind of brought back to the left a little bit. So you can see it's not dead on flat with our 2D canvas. It's off put a little bit, and you can very clearly see at this point the intersection where those 2 layers intersect in 3D space. However, once again, with the color correction, once they're on, you can barely notice them, especially if you're not looking at them. Now you can notice them, but beforehand, if you watch the actual video, I bet you didn't notice them first time. So so that's kind of another way that I got around like having to fine tune those kind of things, because it's all well and good spending a lot of time fine tuning those, but then for every other layer that you put on, you've got to get that tracked in. And the tracks in After Effects, because I didn't use Mocha for this, I used the actual tracking points made inside of Counter-Strike. So wait, I haven't even done a tutorial on Mocha, have I? I might do a tutorial on Mocha soon then. Mocha motion tracking and like object removal. That's a really handy thing to do. So I might do that in the upcoming vids. So yeah, I'm cool. So yeah, that's how I did that. Obviously the grenade flyby was very simple. No effects done there. The next point are the shell casings here. Which employed another 3D tracked camera. So what happened here is I had 3 shell casings, all modelled in Element 3D again. So that's a shell casing. I made 3 separate layers of those, worked them into 3D space, so you can see they're all individual layers. Obviously, because they are Element 3D layers, you can't see the perspective of them if you just click on the layer. It doesn't show you those. But they're all modelled in 3D space. You can see the positions changing there. So they're all, you know, I can move on, and you can see it moving it about and stuff, and moving it forwards and backwards in Z space. So I got them positioned relative enough to the gun that as the camera flies past them, you can see them animate off with the gun, and you can see my track points here yet again on the surfaces that are closest to those. So so they get tracked in with the gun. Obviously then the camera comes out, flies behind him. Again, now you can't see the shell casings, and that's because I tracked them. So in fact, I'll cover this now. This is another thing that some people picked out and in the comments. Say for instance, you coming in here, yeah, nice, you see the muzzle flash, awesome, turns away, you see the explosion, nice. When you come up and sit back down, there's no muzzle flash and there's no explosion. That's because at this time I was kind of pushing myself to make this video, which I know is very bad, right? And you should never push yourself like, oh, I need to get this video out now kind of thing. I don't know what it was at the time. I was just like, I'm rushed for time, no time to do it. So the correct way for me to have done it would have been to, from this perspective, track the scene again, mask out this character here with a pen tool, track that mask, and then relay back onto the canvas where those explosions would have been. That would have been the proper way of doing it. But as I said, for some reason I just felt like I was pushed for time, so I didn't do that. And that's why when we pull away from the character here, you can't see the shell casings, but there we go. So then it comes out and into that character there, and then it fades away into black. So that is the animating side of things, and the kind of tracks. Obviously they can get quite complicated. And so that's kind of, I mean, if you were to take anything from this video, I'd say if you're doing a kind of an edit like this, my tip would be to not spend so much time fine-tuning stock footage, and by that I mean footage with no color correction on it, to like pixel perfect, because the color correction is going to help you a lot. Although it seems like an easy way out and kind of like falsifying the final video, it's kind of not, because if you spend loads of time like fine-tuning raw footage, yeah, that's going to be wasted when you put the color correction on it anyway. So that was kind of the whole idea behind that. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of it. There's not a huge amount. The color correction was an adapted preset from Red Giant. So I used the Magic Bullet looks to apply what was close to a preset. I was kind of going through the different ones, found one that was kind of close to what I needed, popped it on, and then fine-tuned the glow and the HDR settings so that I could cover up those kind of shortcuts, if you like. But aside from that, guys, that's pretty much it. Obviously, if you've got any questions, leave a comment below. If you want a walkthrough on any of my other videos, I do one on selective colors, but I don't have those files anymore because there were like 320 gigabytes worth of files. So I don't have that anymore, unfortunately. So yeah, any other videos though, let me know if you want a walkthrough of them. Again, if you've got any questions, let me know. And let me know if you want like some wallpapers of these as well, because I can render out like just a frame like this or something. I can just render out that frame and then you can have it as a wallpaper or something. So yeah, let me know if you want wallpapers as well. Leave a comment or something. So guys, thank you very much for watching. Hope you did enjoy it. And I'll see you sometime soon, maybe. TM. Toodaloo.